Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. Every week, we try to bring you cool and interesting folks who have stories to tell about service to others. Rotary is all about service, service above self. Our club has a special interest in innovation, entrepreneurship, and education, and many of our programs revolve around those themes, although we're interested in anything that's cool. So, in the realm of cool, our speaker today is Craig Harrison, who is a 28-year member of Toastmasters International. He has spoken on 4 different continents, authored over 100 articles. He has made things happen in all sorts of different places to help people gain a lot of confidence about what they can do as speakers and to understand the power of that professionally. And so we are excited to have him talk about Toastmasters and the Toastmasters-Rotary relationship. Craig, welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you so much, Russian. A pleasure to be with you for the next 12 minutes and beyond. I'll be showing a little slide deck and giving you an overview of Toastmasters and then talking about the partnership between Rotarians and Toastmasters and how you can leverage that. That's really what it's all about. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Toastmasters. Since 1924, they've been all about better listening, better thinking, and better speaking. So you'll see that they've been in business about as long as Rotary. A lot of similarities. The partnership really is a mutuality of interest. It has worked for famous people, famous Amos and Debbie Fields, but you don't have to just make cookies to benefit from Toastmasters. Leonard Nimoy and businessman, author, entrepreneur, Harvey Mackay, great speaker. Laura Lingle, past governor of Hawaii. We've had astronauts and CEOs of beer companies and even the founder of the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation and a former U.S. ambassador. So that everybody that goes to Toastmasters comes out the other end more enriched, however long they stay, whatever they do. Educational nonprofit, and its primary focus is teaching public speaking and leadership skills. Most people don't know about the leadership part. Currently, over 350,000 members in 143 countries. Our primary unit is the club. Like you folks, we have clubs, and nowadays our clubs are e-clubs. So we're striving to be like your club has been. And they meet regularly, whether it's weekly or monthly. And in a club meeting, there are multiple roles, and these roles rotate each meeting. So you get experience listening and speaking and thinking and giving constructive feedback and observing all sorts of amazing styles. Long before we were washing hands for COVID constantly in Toastmasters, we've been putting our hands together to generate applause because basically it is the most supportive environment you'll ever have as you develop your communication and leadership skills. We roll up our sleeves, we learn by doing. As Shags knows, we always say yes, we accept new opportunities, and we support each other. In that way, we all benefit. The goals are always improving communication and leadership development. And there's even a mentoring component. Our founder recognized long ago that human beings learn best during moments of enjoyment. So when you visit a club, and if you haven't already, we'll get you to find a great club near you or convenient to you. But we have fun. We support each other. We applaud. We joke. We cajole. We get to know each other. And it's the type of humor that brings us together. It's really wonderful. You'll see that this is a club photo from a humor club that Shags was a leader in. And this was me at one of my morning clubs, 7 a.m., no breakfast. But anyway, this was a club called Heart to Heart. I believe Shags was active with this one as well, all about relationships. And we have all sorts of different presentations. There's our guy on the right, Shags, with some other cohorts and laugh lovers. But we achieve so much in a fun collegial environment that nevertheless has serious goals and progress to chart. Nowadays, we're doing it online like everybody else. And still, there's ways of leading a meeting and tying it together with nice segues and having rejoinders and callbacks to things that have happened earlier in the meeting. And we celebrate the unexpected. Typical meeting has these different roles, a call to order, sometimes a short business meeting. We have an opening thought, a closing thought, a humorous moment. 3 main segments. There's prepared speeches where people have assignments and come up with their own topics in pursuit of an area of expertise. And they give a 4 to 6 minute speech, a 5 to 7, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, maybe with some Q&A. So we learn about different time frames and give prepared speeches. For people who aren't doing that in a typical meeting, there's the impromptu speaking, and I've got a sample of that coming up in a few slides. So at some point we will invite you to engage and get a taste of our fun table topics, where we do extemporaneous speaking, which is so vital to success in life. And then we devote a third of each meeting to evaluations, because we're always looking to improve. We're looking for continuous improvement. And through the eyes of others, we can see, including through the eyes of guests, how we can be more approachable and supportive and instructive and educational and whatnot. So we have reports, we have evaluations, and we adjourn, and then we shuffle the deck, and next week or next meeting, we do it all again with different roles. So in each meeting, somebody is running the meeting. There's a grammarian, sometimes a timekeeper, all these different roles. I'm going to skip this for now. When you visit a club, it will seem overwhelming at first, but realize everyone's playing a role. They're wearing a certain hat, and we get experience in all these different skills that are very applicable to what we do in Rotary and in our work life and in our family life and in our social life. There's a brand new program that's been out now called Pathways. And when you get involved with Toastmasters, you master some basic skills, and then you pick which lane you want to go, which pathway to follow. And for some of you that are interested in team presentations or want to work on your leadership skill or your humor or effective coaching, each of these is a predetermined pathway with assignments and feedback and reflection. And they're a lot of fun, and there's still a lot of leeway for you to decide what your project is, what your topic is. So this is a brand new program that offers so much more variety in 21st century communications. There's a hierarchy of achievement. Again, it's overkill for this moment. But why does it matter for Rotarians? We see this as a great partnership because you folks are communicators, you are leaders, you are in service to the world. And where else but in Toastmasters do you have a brand new audience where you can practice your impromptu speaking, your prepared speeches, using props, being persuasive, being informative, being entertaining. And then you learn so much, not just by doing each week or each meeting in Toastmasters, but by observing others, and great things are happening there. You're building self-confidence, there's a leadership component, and there's great networking. You get to meet and learn about people on a deeper level when they share what's happening in their lives through speaking. There's empathy and there's connection, and it's really a wonderful thing. So I want you to be thinking right now about the different sorts of goals and even bucket list goals you have in your life at present. And I think that the coronavirus is giving us pause to think about things like that. And I want to ask you, what is on your bucket list? What is something you want to achieve in Rotary or beyond that is on your radar already? Because Toastmasters isn't just a place to conquer fears of speaking and learn how to give a prepared speech, but when you really get into the program, you realize all things are possible. And we really are your co-pilot in all the different endeavors you have, whether yeah. So let me unmute you if I could and just hear some of the goals that you may have. Does anyone have a bucket list goal they'd be willing to share in a sentence or two? And if we may unmute folks, and let's see. All right.
Do you want a Rotary specific goal or just like a life goal?
Either would be great. A Rotary specific would be fine.
Sure. Well, so I can kind of give a life goal. I'm applying to medical school in a matter of weeks. Okay. And so my bucket list right now is to, get into med school.
Fantastic. Do you know which med school you'd like to go to yet?
I have a list of 25 and any of those is fine.
Awesome. Well, we know there's a need. The exciting thing is we actually have Toastmasters clubs in med schools. So one of the great things is that we have clubs in the community, but also in companies and nonprofits. City councils have their own Toastmasters club. And, there are even, I believe there was a nice profile of a Rotarian in Oregon and the club that he formed up there just for Rotarians. So absolutely, that's very doable. Let me just share with you some of the bucket list goals that people have where Toastmasters has helped them. For some people, it's solving a social problem. is something that they do, and Toastmasters can help them speak to the public or galvanize and recruit and enroll and enlist other leaders to get people to support it. People we know, Shags and I know, have started spiritual communities through the confidence they got in Toastmasters, not just giving sermons, but again, leadership and coalescing strangers and melding them into a group. Some people have endeavored to write a book and speak about it, and Toastmasters helps you with that. And they share speeches from chapters. Sometimes it's about creating a partnership, not unlike the Toastmasters-Rotary partnership. And you learn about teaming with each other to put on meetings and contests and conferences, things like that. Some people are ambitious and want to start a movement. And I'm resisting telling a scatological joke. I see my friend Shags, and my mind immediately goes there. But you know what? We live in a time and place where you can start movements. Yeah, there's an old adage that Craig should have followed: when in doubt, leave it out. That'll come up in my evaluation after this call. But a lot of people have used Toastmasters to then build the confidence to run for office, to build relationships, and to not just speak to the community, but listen to communities and find out what their needs are. So all of these things, or to learn a language, there's so many other things that people can do, and Toastmasters can support you in that, goals in Rotary and beyond. I'd love to give you a taste of table topics. What happens there is you call on somebody who doesn't already have a speaking role, and you share with them a topic. You pose a question or make a statement and ask them to comment on it. Now, in a normal session, you'd get to see a lot of people practice this first, and then you'd be given the opportunity, the option of embracing one or not. But I found out a little earlier that 3 brave folks on this call have made themselves available to answer one of the topics. Our goal today is simply to go 1 minute. There's no right or wrong. If the question doesn't quite sit with you, you can tweak it to your own needs. But I'm going to now share a question, and I'll call on one of the folks that I had gotten permission to call on, and just see if you can go for 1 minute. And I'll show a green placard at 1 minute if you're not sure you've gone long enough. So with that, here's the first topic. And let's see, would Sandy or Tanya or Fareen like to take this one on? I'm going to expand my window here. I see Sandra's nodding her head.
Sure.
Okay, great. So take 5 or 10 seconds to ponder the topic. And we know that you have no prior knowledge of what this is, and you're doing your best, and please don't worry, we are applauding for you. There's your applause.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, here's the topic. If you could enact one new law with a magic wand, what would it be? And think about it. We'll give you a minute once you start to respond.
Okay, if I could enact one new law, I think I would choose something that could have many parts in it. So my first thought would be something that would be better for the planet. So it would be partly, we're supposed to do recycling, but we're really not doing it. So somehow I would figure out like how we're really going to cut down on waste. So there's a big problem with food waste, and, we're putting it in our landfill and it's turning into methane, and, just the whole climate change. But another big one that is very personal to me as being a nurse is I think we need to have universal health care, and we need to do much better job on doing preventive medicine. There's many countries and states, or not states, but places that have universal health care, and it's much better for everyone. But that kind of goes back to preventative health also. And then another part of that would be education. So we always talk in Rotary about how important education is to get people out. Does that mean I'm supposed to stop?
You've reached the limit. If you, in a traditional meeting, we'd allow you to go 30 more seconds, but I think at this point, right, great job. So let me ask you, how did that feel?
Oh, it felt fine. I think that sometimes when I speak, I always blame it on being half Italian it's like I have to talk with my hands. And when I used to teach some, they would always say, oh, you kept us, really engaged because we were watching you. But, and being a nurse, I always feel like that's a huge part of nursing is talking to the patient. And so talking is not, I feel like I said that in an interview once, that was one of my kind of superpowers, was being able to talk to anybody.
Yeah, we got to give you a longer assignment next time. You did great, Sandra. So congratulations. And, it's interesting. You make a great point. There's multiple styles. Some, my people use their hands as well. And, some people are very technical. So men are linear more than women, and it's all good, but you learn all about different cultures and different communication styles, and what works for some doesn't work for others. So it's always a learning experience. Let's see. I'd like to slip one more in if that's okay. Let's see. I believe, hearing no objection, as we say in the business meeting, would Farine or Tanya like to take the next one?
I'd like to try if Tanya wants to go, please go.
Farine, I think you are the winner. Okay, so. All righty. And I'll let you read it silently. I think everyone can see it, so I don't have to read it out loud.
Okay, so I will go ahead and begin. Hi, my name is Farheen, and my question is, if a Hollywood movie were to be made of my life, who would I like to play you for me? And so I think this is a really difficult question, only because unfortunately there aren't very many actors who look like me. We kind of are in a lot of, specifically in the United States. But the first person who came to mind is Anne Hathaway, only because I think that she's absolutely gorgeous and I love her, and I really appreciate all of the films that she's in. So even though she doesn't look like me, if Anne Hathaway could play me, that would be great. And the movie's core theme I would really like to see a film about a Muslim woman, trying to grow up in the United States, having immigrant parents, and trying to, live in the United States and what that's like. So I think that, having Anne Hathaway play me, being, again, a Muslim woman, navigating life in the United States, and, hopefully in the end she becomes a doctor, because that's my life goal, to become a doctor.
Awesome. Yay. Very good. Very good. One of the great skills we learn is how to shape the question to our needs. This one was grammatically incorrect. It was, in some senses, a setup that made some assumptions. And I love the way you actually raised my consciousness about that question and sort of gave us insight into what it must be like when you don't see people that necessarily come from your walk of life to represent you. So, we have so much fun in table topics, and we learn. In the interest of time, I'm going to spare the others, and I have to let you know, Shags is one of the most entertaining speakers I've ever met, and it was really a tough decision to decide to go with the novices rather than the ringer. But I know that he will be able to reinforce and add so much more to this presentation as a resource to you going forward. So I will show you we'll just fast forward here, okay? This would have been the other topic. What's something you took for granted in February that you're now missing or appreciating more 3 months later? Anyway, as we wind down, I just want to let you know, in the South Bay, there's some wonderful clubs, including specialty clubs. We have clubs that are bilingual, and we have clubs that are Mandarin and English, or Tamil and English, and a lot of different, let's see, Spanish and English. And nowadays, all the clubs around the world are virtual. So these are some links for where you can find some clubs, and a toll-free number if you want to find a club. I would say go to the website for the parent organization, type in a zip code, and you'll find clubs that are open as well as closed and all around you. And yeah, if you're interested, I've got lots of articles that I've written for Toastmasters, including one about the guest experience. They changed my life. I used to be stumbling, fumbling, mumbling, nervous, afraid to speak to people and give good eye contact. And they gave me the confidence to get raises and get promoted and change jobs and ultimately change careers. And I now make my living doing speaking. Let's see. So yeah, I now share what I've learned with others in different environments as a consultant and as a speaker and as an author. And with that, let's see, Rushton, I think we can open it up for questions, or if you have remarks at this time.
We certainly can. So let's go ahead and stop share, and I want to introduce the people on the call. We have 6 of our members as part of the audience today. So you've met Farheen and Sandy. We also have our incoming programs chair, Tanya Martin. Tanya in Atlanta. We have Shags here in the Bay, Paella, master of the club, and Cecilia, who was with us until she needed to leave for another appointment. So sorry about that. I'm Rushton Hurley. I am a past president of the club. And I think we got time for one question. Farheen, I know you have one prime to go. So
I have a very short question. Craig, thank you so much for your presentation. This was really, really fun. And my question is there a cost associated to being a part of Toastmasters?
Right, there is a cost. Well, I guess I can turn this background off. Don't want to send a subliminal message that there's a, yeah. So what happens in Toastmasters, you pay dues twice a year, and some of it goes to the club and some of it goes to the international organization. And for that, you get a lot of materials and access to resources, and some of that money is spent on you. Let's see. So currently, clubs can be maybe around, I'd say about $50 twice a year. I believe that's accurate. And Shags, if you have more current information, I guess clubs vary, and some of the clubs are specialty clubs. They focus on 1 or 2 things, and they may not meet as regularly. But yeah, you pay in around April and October. There's semi-annual dues. And with that, you get printed material and access to online material. You get the award-winning magazine with wonderful writers and timely articles.
Some clubs do meet at restaurants, and they do expect that you'll be ordering something because they do like to have a minimum for the house.
Yeah, and we've had Toastmasters on campus at Cal, and I've visited clubs in other educational environments around the world. It's amazing. I visited some clubs in India and Ethiopia and Australia, of course, and Canada and whatnot.
Greg, before I wind things down, I'd be curious to know, have you heard a particular speaker who, maybe someone famous, maybe not, who really, really impressed you?
Well, there's so many. It's funny, my mind immediately flashed to somebody who was in our youth leadership program, but he breaks some of the Toastmaster rules. That would be Tony Robbins.
Oh, all right, all right.
But Toastmasters don't use blue language, even for neuro-linguistic reasons. But there's so many, and there's a list of famous Toastmasters that there's celebrities that we know, but oftentimes people don't come publicly about the fact that they use Toastmasters to improve their language skills or their grammar skills or their self-confidence. It's one of those things we like to do privately. That's why managers don't like to be in clubs with their direct reports. It's embarrassing. They want their own club, and so we understand that.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I want to thank everybody who has joined us for the recording today, as we always do. If you joined for the recording, it means we get to keep talking to the speaker after we finish the recording, which is good fun. We hope you'll join one of our upcoming recordings as well. 2 more things we'd like you to do. Let us know you were here. There is an attendance form just a little bit down this page. If you are a visiting Rotarian and you properly put in your email address, you'll get a note that you can pass along to your club secretary to make up a miss. Additionally, in our discuss form at the bottom, we'd like to hear what you think. What did you think of the content of the meeting, of the content of the program? Do you have questions that we can engage in as part of it? That's a part of how we work with each other in our asynchronous online club. As we like to do, we hand it over to the speaker for the final word. And so with that, I'll hand it over to Craig for the last thought.
Thank you, Russian, and thank you to all of you for your attention and interest. I will be forwarding what I call a quick start guide for how to find and evaluate the right club for you, because fit is so important. Although you are welcomed at clubs around the world, and you just tell them Craig Harrison said so, and they'll know me and accept that. But nevertheless, I so look forward to being in your audiences, and allow me to lead the applause for you. Congratulations to you all. And I just love what Rotarians do. It's been my pleasure to be of service to you, I hope.
Thank you, Craig. And everyone, we'll see you next week.